Good morning. My name is Bob Gersh. I'm a reverse mortgage specialist at iReverse Home Loans. Today I'd like to go over, being Friday, a number of questions I've received during this past week regarding reverse mortgages, and hopefully can answer questions that maybe a lot of other people have and just haven't bothered to pick up the phone and call us or haven't gotten around to it yet. So let's go through some of these questions. One of the questions which happens a lot of times is you're taking care of an elderly parent or a elderly client or just a senior which has some disabilities and you have a power of attorney. Well, your assumption may be and probably is that I have the power of attorney, I'm all set, and that if I wanted to do something like take out a mortgage, like a reverse mortgage or any other transaction, I have all the documentation I need. Well, this may or may not be the case. There are specific guidelines and there are different scenarios, and with each scenario there are different steps that need to be taken to be able to qualify to use a power of attorney. It's a 3-page document which goes through and outlines the underwriting guidelines, so at least you'll know exactly what the underwriters are looking for at the bank to be able to qualify to use that power of attorney. You may be all set, you may need to take some additional steps. Needless to say, all you have to do is just give us a call and we'll be more than pleased to send out a copy of that report. And our number here is 781-202-7475, and or you could go to our website at askbobgersh.com and fill in the form, and in the box that's provided you could say you're looking for a copy of the information to qualify to use a power of attorney. So that was one issue that came up. Another issue that came up was had to do with trusts, both revocable and irrevocable. In this case, to be very honest with you, it takes a thorough review of the actual document to know that it really meets the qualifications. But if you want the basic guidelines, we do have a white paper. It's a few pages long, which describes the various scenarios and the criteria. And again, we can be more than pleased to send that out to you to find out if you qualify or not. A lot of people have their property redeeded to themselves with a life interest in the property, and then a trust as the remainder successor. So depending on how you structure it, we can take a look at that transaction for you and see how things are set up. And a lot of people aren't really sure who needs to be involved. Do the beneficiaries need to be involved? Trustees, etc. Who are the trustees? So that's something that comes up, and the more information we can get and documents we can get up front, the easier it is to be able to know what's going on and give you good advice. So again, feel free to give us a call, 781-202-7475. We can send out the document regarding trusts, both revocable, irrevocable, and other related issues on that. So those are a couple of issues which we've had. We've also had issues coming up as far as appraisals in the process, and we had a video a few days ago talking about part of that process. But with that management company that's a go-between, one of the benefits of that is they do a review, a quality control review of the appraisal's report. And sometimes when the appraiser sends in the report, when it's completed, it doesn't meet the quality control. It's sent back to the appraiser, so when we get the report, all these issues are already taken care of. Again, that's great, and that means that when the underwriters at the bank look at that report, it'll be in better condition than otherwise might be, and things that might delay the transaction have already now been taken care of. So it may be a little more time up front depending on that review, but that is an issue, and a lot of people have questioned, where's my appraisal? The appraisal was here last week. Don't you have the appraisal yet? And that's usually because it's being reviewed, but don't be concerned, but rather if you are if the time period has been a week or so, absolutely get back to us, and we'll check into it if we haven't already checked into it. And we try to stay on top of these things, but if we haven't communicated back to you, please feel free to call us, and we will immediately double check with the processors and the underwriters and find out what's going on with your appraisal. So that's the situation on that issue. And finally, there have been a lot of questions regarding, do I qualify? And qualify meaning based on your age and the estimate market value of your property, is there enough equity to be able to, from what you can qualify for reverse mortgage? So it's not a case can you qualify, but it's a case of, is those funds adequate to pay off your existing first mortgage that you may have, or multiple mortgages that you may have. And I've had someone that made that inquiry during this week, and we ran the numbers, which we're happy to do for you. So if someone is wondering, you know, I can go into these websites and I put in my name and my email address and even give a lot of information. I'm expecting to get some numbers out, and all I get was, thank you, we'll be in touch. And that's not what a lot of people are really looking for based on the feedback that I get. They want numbers. Well, we do need to know your date of birth. We do need to know the address of the property so we can run an estimate of value, and do need to speak to you to know which programs you may be interested in and why, so we can make sure we're calculating the numbers based on the programs that be most appropriate for you. But a phone conversation, we can do this, or in person, but we certainly can run the numbers and give you an idea if you have enough equity. Now, if you don't, there's two things you can do. One, you can do things now, and one, you can do them later. Now, the later part is we do put you on our calendar, and every 3 months, rerun the numbers, look at the value of the property, and if the cycle is such that property values are going up, at a certain point, it may work. Now, clearly, as you get older, you qualify for more money. If the property value goes up, you qualify for more money. If it goes down, it goes the other way, unfortunately. But over a period of time, hopefully there's some increase in value. Your age is more, so therefore you qualify for more. And the existing mortgage will have gone down in its balance. So at a certain point, it does work. So we can be in touch every 3 months and do a quick analysis, let you know what's going on. And if we get a nice bump up in values during that quarter, in the values in your neighborhood, it may not have worked 3 months ago, but now may work. So it's the kind of thing we're looking at every 3 months, makes sense. Now, what you could also do right now is, if you have other funds, and you're now paying a mortgage payment every month and want to avoid that in the long run, you may choose to take from other funds you may have, and then do the reverse mortgage and use those other funds to meet the shortfall. And then, now that you're not making a monthly mortgage payment, you're still paying your taxes and your homeowner's insurance, but you're not making a monthly mortgage payment, you can proceed to take what you would have otherwise paid and pay yourself back, so that rather than continue to make those monthly payments, you stop making your regular monthly payments, but now you just transfer the money each month back to wherever you borrowed from yourself. So you take it from one pocket to the other, and in the long run, you'll be able to avoid those monthly mortgage payments, as we just spoke about. So there are tactics to do that. Some people say, well, I wish I had it, but don't have any other monies. Well, it may not be in a savings account or a checking account, but it may be that you have some 401k, IRA, or some other money you may be able to borrow from, and then with taking the payments you'd otherwise make, pay yourself back over a period of months. Or it may be that it's not as obvious sources, and they may be such as life insurance policies with cash value. And again, you want to look at all the different implications, ramifications of any action you take before taking any action. But there may be resources that you do have available that you may be able to effectively be your own bank and borrow from, which you wouldn't normally think of borrowing from those sources, but that way you can alleviate that monthly mortgage payment and just pay your taxes and your insurance. So that question has come up. One of the nicest ways is if people had planned ahead of time. We did a video very recently on that, where they had time on their side and they were planning and figuring out estimate future value of property, or what it currently is worth, and not estimating any increase in value to be very conservative, and figuring out what you currently owe, what you're paying, and at the point in time where you may look at retiring and want to cut back on what you're having as your payment, you want to make sure that you've reduced your existing mortgage sufficiently to do that. Unfortunately, those that don't look at that ahead of time, or haven't had the opportunity or luxury of planning for this, may be making a small additional payment every month, so when you are at the right point, you have a balance which you can pay off with a reverse mortgage. If you haven't done all that and are just faced with it doesn't work right today, we can either just keep looking at it every 3 months, or, as I say, if you have any other resources you may not even be thinking of, you may be able to tap those resources temporarily to be able to come up with the funds and then pay yourself back, because now you have excess cash flow every month, hopefully, which you can use for that purpose. So those are some of the questions which you came up with just this week. That and any other questions you may have, feel free to give us a call at 781-202-7475, and or go to our website, askbobgersh.com, and we'll be pleased to answer those questions in the upcoming weeks. So that's it for today. Again, it's Friday, and hope everyone has a good weekend. And the weather seems to be doing pretty good. The middle of the week we had some little rainy weather around here, but it looks like yesterday and today seem to be mild, and cross our fingers that we get a decent weekend out of it. So enjoy, and it's September now, kids back at school, so our routine is getting into the post-summer routine, but the weather, at least at the moment, is still working in our favor. So let's cross our fingers on that, and have a good weekend, and look forward to hearing from you. Thank you. Bye.